on talking about choosing the types of items that you're going to put on your shelves. I talked about you have to edit, so you really need to figure out what room are you in? What's the purpose of that room? If it's an office, it may be that you have important professional books on the shelf. It may be that you're displaying your credentials. What is the purpose of it? Is it to offer you storage for your work items? Is it to show that you're a professional to your clients? What is the purpose? If it's your living room, maybe it's about showing off those family photos or those vacation mementos that you picked up on a trip. We tend to gather those things in our daily life. Often we're given gifts, and those are cute trinkets that we want to display. So think about the room that you are working in, what the purpose of the room is, and then how your shelves or tabletops can enhance that purpose. So I'll kind of walk you through what I've done here and why I chose these particular items. If you can see it, not sure how clearly you can read that top shelf picture frame, but it's a quote, and it's from Seaside, Florida, which is one of my favorite places to go. I don't know if any of you guys have been to Seaside, but it's this adorable little town in Florida. It's completely picturesque, and they happen to have a magazine years ago when I was there. And that page I cut out of their magazine, and what the quote says is, "Real comfort, visual and physical, is vital to every room." So I obviously agree with the quote, but more importantly, it just really suits what my profession is, and I thought it was a super cute just page, and so I chose to cut it out and I put it in a picture frame. It's a super cheap picture frame. I think I paid like $5 for it, but it's cute, and I always use it in my office because I think it looks really nice, and it's a conversation starter, so I like the quote. Down here, I mentioned a little bit ago that I chose a lot of books just from some of my favorite actresses, designers, those types of people. So it's like Reese Witherspoon, Emily Lay, Candace Bure, Kate Spade, those types of people. And then I have this great book from my grandmother, Better Homes and Gardens Decorating Book. It is from 1961 was its last publishing. So it's a relic, and I love it. Again, it really pertains to me. It speaks to me as far as my passions and professions. So think about that. When you're choosing books to display, who's an author that you love? Or what is just a beautiful book that you have, like the cover stands out and it's something that needs to be put into a room because the color of the book really fits with the color scheme of your room. That's something else that you can factor in. So anyway, here I've done a lot of pinks, blues, yellows, greens, those types of colors. That just happened to be a color palette that appealed to me. But if you're someone that has an all neutral room, consider doing all neutral accessories and books. And I'll show you another trick, especially if you're going for that neutral look, is don't be afraid if you have a cluster of books to turn them around so that the spine isn't out anymore, but instead the pages of the book. Typically, you're not going to do this with a really attractive hot pink book like I just did. It would usually be older books. Maybe you have something like the encyclopedias or the other books that I had over here that you don't love the spine, but you need those books as filler. Turn them around and show off the pages. Again, it's another great conversation starter because it's something that not everyone does, and people will find it interesting and probably ask you about what led you to do that. Next up is this painting of my dog, because if you know me personally, you know I am straight up obsessed with my dog. That's Wendell. I actually painted that a few years ago. I was messing around one day and decided to paint it, and I ended up liking it, so it's gone everywhere I've gone since. So that is, again, something that is special to me. So what is special to you? Do you have artwork that you want to display on a shelf? Because not all art has to be hung on a wall. Maybe you have a piece of pottery that your children made or that you made yourself. Just think about that. What sort of things do you want to display that really reflect you and your family and what you all love? Again, down here, this is just photographs, right? This is a photograph of my mom and then me and my coworker. So I love pictures. I take pictures all the time. And now where it's gotten easier to just print them straight from your phone, I'm back into the mode of getting prints made and then throwing them into picture frames. And most of the picture frames that I have actually ended up being gifts, and so it's perfect. When I get a gift from someone like that, then I usually like to put a picture of us together in that frame so that I remember the person who gave me the gift. So think about that. I mentioned this ginger jar earlier. This cute little piece is from Paxton Home. It's a local store here in Lexington, and it happened to be a gift as well. And it's just a great piece to pop in on a shelf, really anywhere. I've had it all over the place, on dressers, on tables, bookshelves. I rearrange with it quite a bit. And then down here happens to just be a family photo that we had taken on my in-laws farm. We were on the old farm truck when we took it, and it ended up being one of our favorite photos that we had made. It was a complete last-minute decision with our photographer, and it's become a really special memento for me and my husband. We just love everything about it, and again, it's a conversation starter. People see that and they're like, where are you guys? What is that truck? You know, and then we get to talking about where my husband grew up and all of those things. And then the T, obviously down here, is just a nod to my last name. So don't be afraid to pull in things like that. Monogrammed items, items that relate to your family name. If you have a crest, those types of things are awesome pieces to put on your shelves. And then I happen to be a lover of candles. So because my shelves are so short, I really can't safely put a candle on the shelf to burn. So I use this little bit of depth that I have from the front of the shelf to the front edge of where the cabinet is, and that's where I sit my candles, and I let them burn. And I just love the ambiance. This one happens to be in a really pretty container. So think about that. When you're choosing candles to buy in the future, what would be an attractive container to put out? Everything doesn't have to be perfectly matched. So don't hear me say that. In fact, I would venture to say that all of you have enough things in your home right now that you could pull them out, set them on the floor in front of your bookcase or your shelf or whatever space it is that you're staring at right now and thinking about fixing. And I bet you have enough items to get yourself started. You probably have enough already that could complete the project. But if you don't, that's okay, because what you can do is place what you do have and then figure out if you have holes and gaps and what types of things you feel like you might want to put in those holes and gaps, and then that gives you a purpose for buying. As opposed to just seeing a Target ad or walking through Home Goods and buying a random piece that you really don't know where it's gonna go. If you prep and do all of your layout first and work with what you already have, then you will really be buying with intention, and then you won't be buying so many extra things that you don't need or that you end up taking back, and then it just frustrates you when you have to do that. So that's what I'm really here to do, is to encourage you tonight to look around your house and work with what you already have. Nobody goes out and just buys out a whole store worth of accessories and then comes home and places them on the shelves. For one, that's not a very curated look. Most of our homes are collections over our life, right? Like, I didn't go buy all these books in one day. I didn't take all these photographs in one day. It's a series and a story about what's happened to me in my life, and things that I just want to show off and share. So think about that. Don't feel pressured to go to the store, buy everything new, and just keep it all looking the same. And that's something else to keep in mind, is you want to make sure that you're varying the textures of the items that you're putting on your shelves. So you've got glossy, over here we've got some matte, different colors, textures. Don't be afraid to mix them. Everything doesn't have to be the same color. Mix it up. You really get a more interesting look when you do it that way. And I will give you a little bit of a secret. Anytime I am working on shelves, or tabletops really, whether it's for me personally in my home or if it's for clients, I will go and I will arrange things. I'll kind of stand back and I'll play with them again and I'll rearrange them again. And I'll get them to a place that I'm like, okay, I think I like that. Then I'll go do something else. and then I come back and take a look at it again. Or if I'm walking by it, each time I walk by it, I just take a glance to see, do I like that? Do I not like that? And once you do that enough, you will start to see, okay, it's that item that's sticking out to me. It doesn't work there. I need to move it over here. And actually, the girls on my team and we do this all the time. One of us might be accessorizing something, and then, they'll walk away, and if one of us is walking through the room, we might say, have you thought about moving this over there or swapping it here? Because sometimes just a second set of eyes is all that you need. You get a little bogged down in it when you're doing it yourself. So again, do not feel like once you tackle this project that it has to be perfect in an hour's time. Play around with it. Get it to the way that you want it to be. But don't let it drive you crazy. Don't keep going at it and at it and at it, for 2 weeks on end, because that's just going to be irritating as well. So get in there, mess around with it, place your items, see what you think, give it a little bit of time to live with it, adjust if needed, and then enjoy.